Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Liberty Pole Radio. I am your host, the Illustrious Narrator, and let's get to today's topics. President Trump's catering truck fiasco. El Presidente pulled the ultimate bitch move and hid in a catering truck while ditching his lackeys and the press over fears of an Iranian assassination plot last month when he visited Turkey. News of the plot was released today by the U.S. officials who said the president received word of a possible attempt on his life and was smuggled out of Ankara in a catering truck that was driven to a C-32 that flew out of the capital city of Turkey and to the safety of the UK Air Force Base in Mendenhall, Suffolk. Mr. Tough Guy, who has posted AI-generated memes showing him as a 10-star general, Rambo, and as a Timu Chuck Norris, hid in a catering truck, but he was afraid. I guess his badass act 2 years ago in Butler, Philadelphia seems to be, allegedly, more and more staged by the day. The 80-year-old orange clown is afraid of the chaos that he created. The dude had 2 people assassinated during his terms as president, that we know of, and wonders why his enemies want to kill him. None of the reporters knew about the possible attempt on his life, and only a few members of his inner circle had any inkling of what went down. The dude left the reporters out there as meat shields for this decrepit idiot. This trip to Turkey back in July was the one that he took the old Air Force One to Europe instead of the newer plane that was gifted to him by the country of Qatar. Trump is so paranoid for his safety that despite making fun of the old president plane, he had complained about it for the past few years, how ancient and out of date it is. He was more than happy to take it despite all of the upgrades given to the newer plane. Word has it that the coat of American blue paint that he had on the underneath the plane was so dark that it messed with the delicate high-tech equipment on board, which in the right or wrong circumstances, however you look at it, would make the plane a dead paperweight in the air. Trump told reporters while he was boarding his Qatar plane after it was repaired, said, "I'm number one on their list. Before you, but if I go, you go, right?" Footage from the July 8th incident captured by broadcast press pool shows an airport catering truck pulling up to the side of Air Force One after Trump boarded it in Ankara, moments before staff and journalists loaded up in the same aircraft. The catering truck pulled away from Air Force One about 5 minutes after Trump boarded, and it drove toward a C-32A plane. The truck was parked near the back for 4 minutes before pulling off. The only member of Trump's staff to join him on the secret flight was his wet nurse/diaper carrier, Natalie Hart, while his lackeys, Stephen Miller, Pete Kegsbreath, and Margot Rubio, were left as meat shields on Air Force One. Bye-bye, Karen Leavitt. Karen Leavitt, Trump's mouthpiece and spreader of lies, has quit her post as El Presidente's press secretary. Leavitt, who had a MAGA makeover along with wearing Michael Jackson's nose, has been with the Orange Clown since the beginning of the second term. Now a mother of a child and married to a man who's old enough to be a grandfather, will have plenty of time now to take care of both of them, i.e. dual changing diapers and dual feeding times. Leavitt joins the club of Trump's MAGA Barbies who have been put out to pasture. He's already got rid of Pam Bondi, the puppy killer Kristi Noem, and now Caroline can join the club as another one of the Orange Clown's useless sycophants. We'll be right back.
Have a Kit Kat.
Have a snack. Really crisp wafers.
Have a Kit Kat. Have a snack. Smooth milk chocolate.
Have a Kit Kat.
I have a snack.
Hazelnut filling.
Have a Kit Kat. Have a snack.
Give yourself a break. 4 big fingers, 4 big fingers. They taste great.
Have a Kit Kat.
Yeah, so go out and have a Kit Kat. My personal favorites are the white chocolates. Now let's get back to the show. Trump still can't get out of Greenland. Trump's dream of having Greenland as part of the United States moved one step closer when a Texas-based oil company named Greenland Energy had begun preparations for drilling for oil in eastern Greenland. The country's government has warned the company from drilling that area. The area under scrutiny is Jameson Land, and Greenland Energy claims that there's over $1 trillion worth of crude oil just waiting to be tapped. and sold. The company plans on placing 2 oil wells in the area with the blessing of El Presidente. Greenland Energy was founded last year, and the CEO is Larry Sweat, a member of Trump's Circle. The company has hired Dr. Phil to host a documentary about the company, and it will document their exploits in the Arctic. Trump on August 1st posted an AI video of him as a giant overlooking Greenland in his Truth Social page. Man, these MAGA boomers love their AI slop. The Orange Clown still has dreams of owning Greenland before the end of his term. Lucky for us, the Epstein War in Iran and the lackey munitions, along with the basic war plan, have kept a true invasion off the table. For now. Federal troops in Washington to remain there for the foreseeable future. Mango Mussolini has done something that has given right-wing lunatics nightmares since the Clinton administration, placing National Guard troops in a major city. Talk radio in the 90s was filled with nonsensical blather about soldiers walking the streets of the city, which is beyond violating the Constitution, and all of the gun-loving defenders of patriotism will chase away the soldiers because federal troops would have never marched in the streets of America. Well, 30 years later, these so-called Second Amendment defenders are not only sitting on their hands, they just love the idea of armed soldiers marching in the streets because it deters crime. I thought being a proud patriot and a CCW license carrier was what all you need. But I guess having an African-American president really broke these people's minds and drove their racist ideology into overdrive. No need for code talk like reverse discrimination and reverse racism because their orange god emperor has made America openly racist again. The cost of having the National Guard stationed in Washington, D.C. has cost over $1.4 billion. This fool couldn't call them in on January 6, 2021, when he was still president, and blame Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi for dropping the ball and claims that they had the authority to do it. Dude, you were still president. I guess your Napoleon III scheme wasn't feasible back then, but when your body doesn't give out by the end of 2028, we'll probably be looking at a redo. And now, a public service announcement.
Spruce and maple trees give us the violin. And if we don't stop burning them down, we'll have a little less music. We'll also have a little less lumber, a little less paper, a little less rayon, a little less alcohol, a little less maple syrup, a little less printing ink, a little less turpentine.
A public service on behalf of the Forest Service, state foresters, and the Ad Council.
Yes, folks, I'm going to go off topic for a second and talk about all the wildfires that's been going on recently. Well, we've known this is going to happen since the late 60s with global warming, and the environmentalists talking about our future is going to be dry as a tinderbox. That's why the EPA was formed back in the early 70s. Did people listen? No. Now we are paying the consequences for billionaires' greed and the Epstein class as well. Thanks. Now let's get back to the show. El Presidente's personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, was officially voted in by the Senate as Trump's revenge-minded lapdog. Despite making a campaign promise of not using the federal government to attack his enemies like Joe Biden allegedly did, Mr. Projector has been doing so ever since he was sworn in, going after imaginary Antifa syndicate. Trump has vowed to go after the so-called Biden crime family, Hillary Clinton for Benghazi and her emails, yes still, the invisible far-left radicals who sabotage his reflecting pool and destroying the rest of the Epstein files. He replaces Pam Bondi, who was unceremoniously fired a few months earlier. Todd Blanche is a worthless tool and a bootlicker who will be disbarred in the future for his crimes against the people of America. His tireless work to keep the Epstein files under wraps and refusing to even look into the individual who was named the most times in the files will come back later to bite him in the ass. Trump threatens to declare the Strait of Hormuz a U.S. territory. The God Emperor of America announced on Friday that if Iran continues to defy the United States in its ongoing Epstein war, that he will declare the Strait of Hormuz, or in his own words, Hormuz, a U.S. territory. El Presidente has been trying to find a way out of the Israel-U.S.-Iran conflict that he started on February 28 without losing even more face. The U.S. Navy continues to block all of Iran's ports and shipping ways, while the Trump administration continues its one-sided negotiation with Iran. Every plan Trump has come with has been vetoed by Israel for reasons known only between himself and Bibi. He explains the reasoning behind the rising gas prices by telling the press that Americans who have to pay a tiny bit more for your gasoline should remember that they are doing it so a very evil country cannot have really, it's a number one state sponsor of terror in the world. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. When you have to pay a little more, you're at $4. It's okay, it's not. I never apologize. I did the right thing. This dotard has gotten us into another forever war. Well, until his term ends, according to the Iranian officials who responded to the question of when Iran will reopen the strait on their end. Luigi Mangione admits in court that he shot United Healthcare Workers CEO after pleading guilty in court. Luigi Mangione, the man who shot and killed the CEO of the United Healthcare, Brian Johnson, Friday morning announced in federal court that he shot the CEO. Johnson was the CEO of United Healthcare, and under his leadership, the insurance company made over $4 billion in profit. That means a lot of policyholders died under his watch just to make a few bucks. So let's not feel sorry for this millionaire whose salary is over $10 million annually. United Healthcare has been under scrutiny for the past few years. They are being investigated by the United States Senate Homeland Security Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations that released a report in October of 2024 that showed a high rate of pre-authorized denials for care. Even his widow reported that Thompson received death threats before he died from quite a few people because of his company denying former policyholders for coverage. He was investigated for insider trading and fraud, along with the current CEO, Stephen Helmsley, in a lawsuit which was filed in May of 2024. So it's hard to feel any kind of empathy for this idiot. We'll be right back. You are listening to Liberty Pole Radio.
The fear of the year is here. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, a monster he could not control, had taken over his very soul. A screaming demon rages inside, turning him into Mr. Hyde, an unstoppable black Superman. Super strong, supernatural, and super bad. His punch can topple a skyscraper. His kick can split the earth in two. More destructive than an earthquake. Mightier than a tidal wave. A one-man disaster area. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. When you're seeing what ain't, you're looking at a haint. Shot full of lead and he still ain't dead. Jump back, Jack, for your skull is cracked. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Starring Bernie Casey, Rosalind Cash, Stu Gillum. Directed by William Blackula Crane. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parents. So bring your mama. She'll like it too.
Yes, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde is a weird-ass movie. It's also known as The Watts Monster. It stars Bernie Casey as this doctor who works at a clinic who's trying to develop this serum to help his fellow African Americans with blood diseases. But one day he uses the serum on himself, and he turns into this white monster who goes around Watts, killing pimps and thugs and robbers and just weird-ass individuals. It's kind of hard to describe, but I would check it if I were you. Check it out. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. I just want to close out today's episode by talking about people who worship Elon Musk. Okay? How do I say this? People who bootlick billionaires are pathetic, okay? Why would you waste your time groveling at the feet of these people who are making billions of dollars off the sweat of your backs? Listen up, folks. They don't care about you. All they see from you is a drone who punches a clock, who works for barely minimum wage, who barely scrapes by, and they dine on fine wine and champagne and caviar while you're stuck eating TV dinners and knockoff sodas. Wake up. They don't care about you. You have to look out for yourself. And one of these days, the chickens are going to come home to roost. Let me end today's episode with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. He said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." And I hope you enjoyed the show. Take care now, and don't forget to watch all the other shows that are on this channel. They're pretty good.